Hello once again, witchy people. This, hopefully, I'm going to sit down for a moment, is going to be a quickie craft make. Sort of quickie. So I did say that I wanted to make soap, and obviously I want it to be a pagan themed soap, and seeing as my favourite symbol is the pentacle, I wanted a pentacle soap. And I looked everywhere and I couldn't find one, a soap mould that I liked. And when I did find one that I sort of liked, it was not silicone, it was plastic. And using melt and pour soap, sometimes it can melt plastic. It's not really the most ideal material for melt and pour soap. So I thought I will make my own soap mould. And that was the easy part, saying I will make my own soap mould. It's like you would not believe that this area that you see just here is the only clear area on my desk. So what I have got here is a lid from a coffee jar. And I use these coffee jars a lot because I drink a lot of coffee. I have a lot of these coffee jars, and this is the large size. And I thought, perfect. So I cleaned it up, made sure it was nice and clean. And then I thought, right, what I want is the soap to be like this. This is what I want the soap to be like. So I thought I want a pentacle on top. And the only way I could think of doing it was to cut out several layers of pentacles. Now I'm sure I might have been able to find something somewhere, a piece of jewellery or whatever, without a hook on it, though. Even if it had a little like a little thing for a chain on it, I could incorporate that into the soap and sort of make a hole for the soap or something. Anyway, so this is just card, very thin card, and I layered up 3 layers of this card. As you can see, I cut out quite a few. I thought whilst I was there, and I did use my Cricut. I am not that good at cutting things out myself anymore, so yeah, so I used 3 of these, and it is, like I said, it's just thin card. I stacked 3 together and I glued them together with just normal tacky glue. Then I had to glue it to this, and I had no idea of the best glue to use, to be honest, because it needed to be safe enough for when I used this to make the mould. So I stuck it down with Gorilla Glue, and this is Gorilla Glue Clear. Doesn't say anything else. It's for all types of, for bonds, glass, ceramics, metal, stone, wood, foam and more. And it's foam free. That was the other thing, because you don't want it leaking out. It's sort of like squeezing out around the edges. So and you have to wet the surfaces. If it's non-porous, you have to wet the surface to be able to stick it down. So that's what I did. Then in my cupboard I have this, and I've had this years, and it is mould putty, and as you can see it's mould potty. It's mould potty. It's mouldputty.com, and it comes in 2, and this was the only one I had. You can get it in different colours, and different colours means that it's different pliability, as far as I can tell. That's what they use it for. And I used about 1/3 to cover this, and it was probably slightly too much, to be honest. Now the reason I'm making a second one is I did want to anyway, but I have got air bubbles in this one, and that I didn't want. And it is actually quite difficult to get it perfect, especially if you're not an expert at things like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one and see if I can make it any better. Now the idea is, I suppose you could, if you were sensible, you would measure this and weigh it properly. I am going to eyeball it. And you have to make sure that you've got enough to cover, because once you've made it and then you try to stick another piece on, you will always get like a line there. So see, this bit here was stuck on the edge. I mean, the edge, it didn't matter because it was just strengthening the edge. That's not going to be part of the used mould. So you will always get, even though it sticks together, you'll always get that line break. So let's, I swear I cleaned this table, this desk. Oh God. Okay, so I think you can get this in purple, blue, yellow and pink. And it's really weird. On its own, before you mix it, it doesn't stay together very well. At least mine doesn't. So let's get this one out. And obviously I want about the same. I'm not very good at measuring things the same. I'd say that one was slightly smaller, so I'm going to put that bit in there as well. Right, and then to use this stuff, apparently you have to mix it together until the colours are blended completely, and no one colour can be seen apart from the other, if you see what I mean. So you don't want to see any streaks of bright yellow or that off-white. It wants to be this nice banana-y sort of colour. And as you can see, when you start to mix it, it stays together. It doesn't break apart like it does when it's on its own. So you keep mixing until there are no... You see that there is a white streak here, so that's not mixed properly. I mean, it doesn't take a lot, even for someone with dexterity problems like me. Right, that looks to be about right. So now the mistake I made when I made this one was to plonk it on top and then just, you know, hope for the best. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to roughly... I want it to be quite smooth. Right, so what I want to do is make sure there are no air bubbles. See, that looks better already. And I can see an air bubble there. So what I'm going to do is very carefully mould this. There's an air bubble. Still an air bubble. Now this sets really quickly. Within 20 minutes it's like this, even a bit this size. Oops, that's not good. Now, I can see I've still got air bubbles everywhere. This is not going as well as I planned it to, but we shall we shall see how it develops. So I'm going to see if I can squeeze it all the way round to one side and squeeze all the air bubbles out to one side. It's difficult because there is a lip here, obviously. So I think a little air bubble at the side, I don't mind. Now I can see already there are a lot of thin pieces here, so I'm going to start very quickly tearing apart the thicker pieces to cover thinner pieces, like there's a thin piece there. There's a very thin piece there. Oh, let's see if I can... maybe I should have used more putty. Like I said, there is a bit of a panic because I don't want it to set before I'm ready, because then that would be a waste. So I don't mind what the outside looks like. I don't give two hoots about. It's not the outside that I'm worried about. It's making sure that the inside is nice and smooth with as few air bubbles as possible, and with the main design being oh, what's the word? Clear. The main design has to be very clear, and I can hear the dog barking. Very easily distracted, aren't I? So I don't mind if, like I said, there's joins on the outside, and I'm just gonna see it's a bit thin around this. I'm holding up to the light so that I can see whether it's see-through or not, and I don't know if you can see, there is a very thin bit here, but I'm hoping I can just press that together. So I don't mind a few air bubbles around the very edges. I just don't want it to be too thin. Oh, yeah, there's the dog. Okay, that's not too bad. It's got a little bit thin, but I suppose I could, as it's yes, it's already started to set there. As it begins to set, I could add an extra layer on the outside, as long as it's nice on the inside. If it's slightly thin, I can add an extra layer on the outside, and that will keep it from splitting when I use it as a mould. So I think the bottom of this, the actual pentacle design, has turned out better, but the edges haven't. They've still got a couple of air bubbles in, but I think at the sides that's going to be okay for a bar of soap. And that will take 20 minutes. And the other thing I want to make sure is that it sits level without breaking through. Oh, that's very good. That hasn't broken through. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. Getting my... So I know how far up I want the soap to be able to be poured. Like I said, I'm using mountain pour soap because I have animals, and my cats, the minute I start doing anything, they will jump up and want to know what I'm doing and poke their noses in and knock things over, and so I don't want to have to use anything with lye in it. Now this has got quite a large lip, so sorry, totally off camera. I am going to snip away some of this so that it's going to be easier to see. That bit's really thin right there. And whilst I'm waiting for this one to set, I suppose I could grab another lid, pop it in. I just pop it in. Like I said, I'm not the most dexterous of people. Yeah, I got it. And then where it's thinnest, I'm gonna mould a little bit more and just make this a little bit stronger. And I shall do the same with that one when it's all set up and done. I'm not going to need a lot, because this is all I've got anyway. And like I said, I would assume that if you weighed it, it would be much better than just eyeballing it. Now, I don't need a lot to make this slightly stronger. Like I said, this is all because I needed a soap mould. Couldn't find one that I liked. Couldn't find one that was the right size, the right material, and so this is what I ended up doing. And okay, it's odd for most people to have these sort of things just hanging around at home, but it is. You will have card, you will have a lid that you could use, and to be honest, I suppose I could have used clay to make a mould. A lot of us witches have clay and stuff. Right, so I'm going to have a bit down here, and it should, like I said, it will stick to itself. It just won't look very pretty, and it'll oh, and there's a bit here as well. So yeah, I'm going to keep on holding up to the light until, oh, that's really good. There's a little bit there, but I reckon I could move that round. Oh, there's a thin bit there as well. Not very thin, just a little bit thin. So yeah, I am not very good at all this. Asked me to make it something out of paper or card, and I could probably do it, but making something that's out of putty and making my own moulds, not the easiest thing for me to do, I will admit. And but yeah, not too bad. Right, I'm going to leave that to reset, leave that to set, and then see how these do. And then what I will do, I have a plan on how I want to make the soap. And this one isn't for my mum. I will stress that first. I do have separate soap moulds for my mum. I want to make my mum patchouli soap because she loves patchouli. So I want to make patchouli for my mum. I am going to make patchouli in these for Miss Lizzie. And then I think what I'd like to do is I've got some that I have to make, I think I said before, for Sarah, which is my son's other half. And sort of going from, but I've had so much hassle ordering anything from online. Even my shopping order that came last night had none of the food that I ordered. None. They swapped everything, and I actually wanted these little Halloween skull decorations that they had. They'd sold out. They didn't send me any, and that was the main reason for me putting in the order for that particular shop in the first place. Actually, I will say their name. It's Asda. I mean, they did well. I mean, I suppose what they replaced it with was still vegetarian, so that's at least one thing. But yeah, I haven't had much luck online shopping. So if you want to get the skull, so I'm turning away and the microphone's over this direction and I'm looking this way. If you want these skull decorations from Asda, from their Halloween section, which aren't listed in their Halloween section, you have to just search for skull and see what comes up. If you do it online, you won't find that they are there, but they will not send them out with the order. I'm not the only one who's had this problem. If you find them in store, grab them while you can. So that's my advice. So like I said, I'm going to wait for these to dry. I will come back, I think, when, see, oh, this is hardening up already. It's hardening up already. I'm most impressed. I'm going to add a little bit there. Tidy it up a bit. Ooh, need a hold there, so that's got to be done. Yeah, so the second part of this video will be, hopefully, showing you if the soap worked or not. This may not work. After all of this, it may not work, and you know, won't that be an absolute hoot if I spend all this time doing this and then it doesn't work? That is not equal, is it? So sometimes it's just easier to roll it in a ball and have a look. Yeah, that one does feel a bit bigger. Yeah, so I will be back when these moulds are finished. I have the right soap base. I have the colourants for my soap base. I may have to just go out and buy some, because I'm, like I said, shopping online has not been good for me at the moment. So yeah, there we go. I'm going to finish this bit off here, and I will be back another time, and we will see how successful my soap moulds are. They may look ugly, but I'm hoping the results will be quite pretty in the end. Thanks for watching, witchy people. Bye for now.